What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Full Court Talk podcast. And today, CJ and I are back again. This is going to be a fun one.
Sir.
We have a
Yep.
lot to get to. Um, so, as you guys know, James Harden was finally traded. So, we're going to get into that and talk
Yep.
about what each team got and basically kind of choose a winner, I guess.
hmm
And the second topic is what is going on with Kyrie? Kyrie's back in the spotlight for negative reasons, and I think it's going to continue on until he kind of figures out what he wants to do. And the third topic
Yeah.
is should the NBA be worried about the postponement of games? And should the league look into why California teams aren't having this problem with COVID cases? But to get into the big topic, James Harden has been traded. Finally. After a long time, he's been dealt. Let me just briefly
Yeah.
talk about who got what. So the Nets obviously got James Harden.
Mhm.
That's all they got. The Rockets got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum,
Yeah.
I think it's Rodney Carooks, 3 Brooklyn first round
Yeah.
picks, 1 Milwaukee first round pick, 4 Brooklyn first round swaps, all unprotected. So 8 picks.
Yeah.
That's insane. The Pacers get Karis
Yeah.
LeVert and a second rounder. The Cavaliers got Jarrett Allen and Torian Prince. So a lot to kind of unpack here. But how do you
Yeah.
think the Nets will be with James Harden?
I mean, I'll tell you this much. They're so glad to have him with Kyrie missing 7 straight games,
Yeah.
and with what they had to give up, I would argue that they've gotten worse after the trade. You know what I mean? And James Harden, like Miles says, is James freaking Harden. But I mean, the players that they've had to give up, any of those guys are starters on any other team. And what we've discussed, bro, like Karras is going to be a star.
Yeah.
Prayers up to him. Hopefully, that mass in his kidney is resolved soon so he can get it going. But he's going to be a star with the Pacers. But the Nets, they're going to fare well right now because of the firepower, and obviously, a lot of people are going to want to tune in and watch James Harden and KD reunite. Two
Yeah.
tremendous players, two of the greatest scorers we've ever seen. But I just think the Nets just gave up too much, man. Obviously they won their first game, against the Magic with KD and Harden playing together for the first time since 2012. But I mean, if you watch that game, like Harden and KD had to carry the load for them to get over the hump. Orlando is a good team, but they're not a team that can challenge the Nets. You know what I mean? And so, with the players that they gave up, they would have been steady cruising, in my opinion, as long as everybody was there. Kyrie, Karras, Jared Allen, and you traded away your center of the future, and you're going all in on DeAndre. I mean, you can argue that you're going all in on Brooklyn to win
Yeah.
the whole thing this year, which
Yeah.
is a fair assumption with the pieces they have. But um, I believe that they can get 3 more players. Is that correct? Like they could sign 3 more players.
I believe it's either 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even with that said, like no disrespect to anybody that they sign, but they're not gonna be the caliber that Jared Allen, Karras, Torian Prince were. You know what I mean? Because you could say that, look what Karras has done and what he did last season, and I think like to go all in on James Harden was, tricky business decision, but I mean they got to do what they have to do. But I'm just saying, like, Nets, they lost some pieces, and that is why, like, in my non-biased opinion, the Lakers still have an advantage because the bench is more solid compared to theirs. You know what I mean? And like James Harden and KD, like they literally cannot do everything, and that's what they had to do to win against Orlando. So, tonight I'm excited to watch them against the Bucks because that'll be a good test.
Yeah.
But going back to the question, is just Brooklyn made a good decision as of right now, but it's just we have to wait and see when Kyrie gets back how it's all going to fare out.
Yeah. And like touching back on that game, like when your 2 best players combine for like 70 something
Mm-hmm.
points and
Yeah.
you still only win by a little, it's
Mm-hmm.
not great. And you look
Yeah.
at the surrounding pieces, Joe Harris had a good game
Yeah.
and that was it, you know. And I mean, KD and Harden are gonna get their own, no matter what.
Yep, exactly.
Harden fits pretty well with this team already.
Hmm.
Harden already has like a rapport with KD, so you know they're gonna work well. But the only question is, like you brought up, Kyrie. Is he going to buy in? And all of them are gonna have to sacrifice shots. You know, you
Yeah,
can't have three superstars and not sacrifice. So, is he willing to do that, or is he willing, or is he just gonna be like, "Nah, I'm gonna get mine." You
yeah,
know, it's gonna be tough because he's also, like you said, he hasn't been there in 7 games.
yeah,
He's kind of given up on this team already.
mhm,
So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not crazy about this whole trade for them. I think we're huge believers in Karis LeVert. We like Jared Allen. You know,
yeah,
these are two young guys you could have built around after
yeah,
KD and Kyrie are gone.
yeah.
So I'm never one for hemorrhaging your future
Hmm.
uh, to deal with the present. You know, look at the
Yeah,
Warriors building a dynasty. It's not built overnight, and it's not built through trades and all that stuff. You need the draft badly. Um,
yeah,
of course, there are exceptions. You know, the Lakers are different. The LA teams are different because people want to go to LA. You have that.
yeah.
Brooklyn doesn't have that feature as much as the Lakers or Golden State, you know.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, like it's all gonna come down to Kyrie. Can
Yeah,
Kyrie buy in? And
yeah.
honestly, like they're probably gonna be one of the best offenses no matter what, right?
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Defensively, they are terrible. Kyrie and Harden were never known for their defensive abilities. And over the years, KD has become a better defender, but he's still not that guy you can just pull out there and be like, "Hey, go get a stop,"
Yeah,
you know. But arguably, KD is the best defender on this team. DeAndre
yeah,
Jordan is like 35. He's up there in age, and he
yeah.
hasn't shown that he can be that defensive stopper anymore.
Yep.
So they need to find someone for some kind of like defensive ability, but like we know one guy is not going to be able to do it. One switch and you're screwed. So
Hmm.
down the stretch in the playoffs, they're going to struggle. You
Yeah,
can only do so much on offense. You're going to miss a shot eventually.
exactly.
But you know that's where I'm not crazy about this trade for them. Obviously they did what they wanted to do,
Hmm.
and in that, like I would say that each team in this trade wins because
Yeah,
they did exactly what they wanted. They wanted a star, they got a star, arguably a
yeah,
superstar. But
yeah.
you know it is what it is. But how do you think the Rockets did?
Oh, I think they won easily. They easily won. I was afraid that they were going to have pieces that would conflict with the positions that they already have. For example, like DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood. I was afraid that they were going to end up with more bigs, or
Yeah,
for example, they would end up with more point guards. But what they ended up with was Victor Oladipo, a star shooting guard. I know he's coming back from injury, but he's looking like his old self. And you know, unfortunately, he's wanted to be known that he wants out of Indiana.
yeah,
As we've seen with the clips, that he said that, hey, I want to come play with you guys, and he finally got his chance. But yeah, no, I'm very happy for the Houston Rockets because they got John Wall. Now they got Oladipo, and they still got Christian Wood and DeMarcus Cousins that can shine in their own role. There's no logjam in any positions, and plus they're set for the future. Dante Exum, he's kind of been a disappointment since he got drafted, but he's shown some positivity when he was with Cleveland.
yeah,
But that's not even like what I want to go into, because what I want to go into is with the draft picks that they compiled. They got picks for days.
yeah,
Not as much as OKC, but they got picks for days. And so you know, they're kind of in an awkward spot. I mean, they're not in the top 8 in the West, but they're not really rebuilding, and they're also not really tanking. So they're just, I guess you could say that they're just trying to compete, trying to see
yeah,
where they can get to. But I'm just glad that they got a star in a position where they're going to be lacking, because right now that 2 spot would have been David Nwaba, and probably that other guy who comes off I forgot his name, but the lefty. So Victor Oladipo gives him some firepower there, and I think he's perfect to play to pair alongside John Wall.
Yeah.
He's not Bradley Beal, but that's a good sidekick to have. And I'm sure DeMarcus Cousins is happy too. But yeah, I easily think they wanted to trade. Everybody thinks it's Brooklyn, but I think the Rockets, they got the most pieces, and for the present and for the future as well.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean, it's hard to deny 8 first round unprotected picks. People don't understand like unprotected picks are like gold. Anything in the
yeah,
first round, you can get someone good.
yep,
And 7 years worth of picks from the Brooklyn Nets, they're not
yep,
going to be good in 4 6 years, right? So this is a brilliant move by them. Um,
yeah.
I wasn't crazy about the flipping Victor Oladipo for Karis LeVert,
Oh yeah, definitely.
just because Karis LeVert is on a longer contract. I think he has 2 3 years left on his contract on a much smaller contract, I'll add. And
Yeah,
Victor Oladipo is going to be a free agent this year, and I guess he's already said that he's going to make his way to Miami after. He's
yeah,
already in talks with them. I don't know,
yeah,
but either way, like for now, a lineup of John Wall, Oladipo, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, and DeMarcus Cousins is really good.
yeah.
They got that guy Jayshawn Tate, the undrafted player. He looks pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure there's more on the team. I just haven't been able to watch any Rockets games, but they have a good
Yeah,
squad. That starting
yeah,
lineup it speaks for itself.
yeah,
Um, and like you said, like 8 picks is an insane get. So they
yeah.
obviously won the trade.
Oh
I,
yeah,
the clear losers here are probably the Nets, in my opinion.
yeah,
It's like they didn't learn from trading for KG and Paul Pierce, right? You
yeah,
hemorrhage your future, and then you built it. You built it back up with D'Angelo, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie. Then you hemorrhage it again for James Harden. So I don't know. I'm not crazy about trading all those picks, that many picks.
yeah,
But that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. But
yeah. I mean, I just want to say this. I would argue that Cleveland lost the trade because they have a whole front line of bigs now. But I could see why you would say Brooklyn. It's just with the Cavs, like they already had Andre Drummond, and I don't understand. I mean, maybe they were trying to prepare for the future with Jared Allen because they're not sure about what
yeah,
Drummond wanted to do. But yeah, they have a whole front line that could start. Larry
yeah.
Nance, Drummond, JaVale McGee, Jared Allen. It's just it was insane for them to do, and they weren't even reported like initially to be part of that trade,
Well,
and
when
then out
you
of
when you
nowhere,
look at what they gave up,
yeah,
it was a no-brainer. You're giving
yeah,
up
of course,
Dante Exum for
yeah,
Jared Allen.
oh yeah,
And if I'm the Cavs and I have 8 bigs already, I'm still making this trade because he's a young big you can build around.
that's
And
fair,
they've already said that they want to get rid of Drummond. They didn't even want him to get pick up his option.
yeah,
Um, and as amazing as Drummond has been, he's not going to help you win games anymore.
exactly, yeah,
Um, they're already trying to trade JaVale. Uh,
yep,
so I mean, they're gonna hopefully they can get rid of them. But
yeah.
the only tough part of this, which I just read, Kevin Porter threw a
He
tantrum,
threw
I
a
guess you'd call
tantrum,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
well, it's weird that they would give Torian Prince's locker.
that is pretty weird, yeah,
I don't know. It said older locker, so maybe that was his locker last year.
or like his rookie season.
Yeah, but I don't
Regardless, though,
I don't know why
yeah,
he's getting pissed
yeah,
like that, right? It's
yeah,
weird. But you know, that's a tough one because he's a good player and you're gonna
yeah,
lose him for nothing. Sounds like they're gonna
yeah,
waive him now.
uh-huh.
But still, I love Darius Garland and Colin Sexton's been amazing for them.
Yeah,
Sexland has been great for them.
yeah.
But like you said, like that's a log jam at the 5, and they
I
need to
mean,
figure that out.
I just hope that, because we did see the reports about, Drummond and JaVale getting traded. I just hope that they can flip them for like other positions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, that's definitely what they need. But yeah, no, it's honestly, you're right. It is a no brainer. Like, I'm giving up anything, even though I have the bigs for Jared Allen. He's probably one of the best bigs in the East.
Yeah.
And it's just he's only 24 years old, so
Yeah.
he's somebody that you can build with for sure. With Sexline, Colin Sexton and Darius
Yeah.
Garland, like those are a good young core, that you could start with. And I feel like if they started them with in the beginning of the season, like they can do a tremendous job. But I agree, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, like Jared Allen is someone that has been underutilized for his entire career.
Yeah,
Um, he's got such great defensive instincts. He's a really bouncy young player that I think you can
yeah,
easily build around. But
yeah,
when last season, when they had DeAndre Jordan starting above him, it's just because he's friends with KD and Kyrie, you know,
yeah,
and that's tough because you can tell Jared Allen wants to get out there and compete. He wasn't
yeah.
competing because he wasn't friends with KD yet, so that's tough.
This season, it doesn't make sense why DeAndre Jordan started, because you saw what Jared Allen did when he would start. It's a no
Exactly.
brainer. But I mean, I don't know.
And now
Veteran,
they're left with one center
yeah,
on their roster. I'm assuming they pick up someone else, but I mean, whatever. It is
yeah,
what it is, right? I'm guessing
yeah,
KD is
yeah.
gonna slide down to that five at some point.
Exactly. That's what I was
But
thinking as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about my low key winner, the Pacers.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, we're super high on Karis LeVert. We love Karis LeVert. He dropped 43 before he got traded.
Yeah.
He's a beast, bro. He's gonna be really good, and
Yeah.
it's sad how he's out indefinitely. But man, I hope he gets better because this trade was kind of a blessing in disguise for him. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have
No,
found that
definitely.
without that trade.
Yeah.
But I just hope
Agreed.
he's okay. But as soon as he comes back, he's gonna wreak havoc on the East, man.
Oh yeah.
A lineup of Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, T.J. Warren, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. That's enough to compete in the East. You don't need much in
That
the
is.
East, but that's a nice team. Aaron Holiday looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's Justin Holiday looks good. They
Yeah.
got a solid team. I would try and capitalize on T.J. Warren still, but if you don't, you still got a good team.
Yeah. And my guy Cassius.
Hey, I saw him the other
uh,
night.
yeah. No, honestly, no, you're right. Pacers are low key winners as well, because you can argue that this will eventually be Karris's team. He can be the
Yeah,
face of the franchise.
yeah,
Everybody thinks it's Miles Turner, Sabonis, but it's Karris, in my opinion. And I think pairing him alongside those two bigs in the front, perfect. They're running bigs that can go with him, and the guy's an absolute bucket. And
yeah,
so, I think the supporting cast treats him well. And now that he has his own team, I think he's going to be able to show what he has in his arsenal to the fullest extent. So I
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
And then I think another thing is like Oladipo wasn't that guy you could count on. He hit big shots,
Yeah.
but Karras just kind of he gives me that vibe that he's gonna hit even bigger shots, right? I think he's got the ISO ball down. He's a good
Yep.
shooter, good finisher,
Yep.
good length, good height. He's gonna be really good for the Pacers, and I'm excited for him because I think he's gonna kill it out there.
Yeah. I agree.
But on to our second topic, Kyrie. What is going on with him? So, what do you think
Oh
about
man.
this entire situation?
Like I've been telling you, I think Kyrie definitely means well. We know he's a social activist. We know
Yeah,
what he wants to accomplish is everybody's best interest, but I think he's just handling it very, very poorly.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, in the light of certain things going on in the world, Kyrie has been an advocate for a lot of things, a lot of social injustices that he wants to, obviously fix. But I just think he's just approaching it the wrong way. I think everybody knows the message that he's trying to send. It's clear and concise. But, I saw a tweet when it was just like, yeah, Kyrie's over here having a Zoom meeting with, fellow activists, and the Nets have a game at 7:30. So it's like you got to pick your poison. You're trying to fight social activism, and then you're letting your team down because he didn't even
yeah,
give him a fair warning. You know
yeah,
what I mean? He just flat out left. And I think the coup with what he did with his dad and his sister at a birthday party and showing that he was not wearing a mask, I think he really did that on purpose, just because, or just so he can get the time off due to protocol, right? Because if it was being safe about it and he had a mask on, then he'd be like, oh yeah, you can play tomorrow. You know what I mean? We'll rapid test you. You'll turn negative. I mean, you'll test negative and you can play tomorrow. But I think he was trying to send a message. And I just think that he's approaching it all wrong. And I know it's unconventional. There's no proper way to fight social injustice. But I think he's letting a lot of his teammates down. And I'm not sure this is what KD signed up for, because I know he wanted to team up with him. But I think his off-court antics, Kyrie's off-court antics, is making it so hard. And right now, the James Harden trade is masking that all up, because right now KD is just ecstatic to be with him, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kyrie's off-court antics, it might cost him his contract. Honestly, like I would go even as far as that, because there were some rumors that he would be included in that package.
Yeah.
To Houston, and that's not a far-fetched reality. And I just think that he needs to get it together. He can fight social injustices in a proper way, And I'm not saying to shut up and dribble. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he should just play basketball and set that to the side. But I think he should communicate with the organization, with the fans, everybody, what he wants to do. And he should deal with it in a more proper, professional manner rather than just ditching his team.
Yeah.
Because essentially that's what he did. He fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
TMZ had to find him. You know what I mean? Not even Steve Nash or any of the guys could find him.
Exactly.
So, I just think that he's approaching it wrong. I love the message that he's trying to do, but the approach is just wrong.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like, he's under a lot of scrutiny at the moment. Of course, he went to his sister's birthday without a mask, but then it was the timing that was bad. He didn't play for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Didn't text his coach. Didn't tell anyone where he was going. Just kind of, like you said, fell off the face of the earth. And obviously, a reporter's gonna look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, he told me he wasn't gonna play."
Yeah. No.
And
exactly.
obviously, like us, not knowing what's happening, we're like, that sounds like true. That sounds like
That sounds about right.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially like with everything going on, with the rumors that he didn't even want Harden on the team, and then now it's just like with the Harden trade going down, the trade happens, and now all eyes are on Kyrie again. Like, what are they gonna do with Kyrie? Because at this point, is he gonna buy in, or is he gonna be like, nah, I'm just gonna chill? But it's tough because I don't know what you can't trade him at this point. No one's gonna want him. But even like former NBA champion Matt Barnes said, they need to trade him for some depth because they decimated their roster for James Harden. But
I agree.
At the same point, you're never gonna be able to get a quality player back at this point unless Kyrie's okay with it. Because if Kyrie's not okay with getting traded, no one's gonna want him. It doesn't matter what team it is, right? So he needs to shape up before he either gets dealt or they ask him just stay away from us,
Yeah.
Because they can't cut him. They can't do that because like that's
Kyrie.
That's a lot of money. Exactly. It's Kyrie. But like I think at this point, like Kyrie kind of seems like he doesn't want to play to me. He just kind of wants to do his own thing, and I respect it because like just like today, Steven Jackson said Kyrie bought George Floyd's family a house. Like that's amazing, but it's the way he's going about this that isn't great. And I don't want to nitpick because like he's doing a lot of great things for social injustice, but he's also kind of not. He's giving up on his team, and that's not right. Because his team has been there for him, and arguably he hasn't. He got surgery to not play last year, and then this year he just left his team without saying anything. So I'm not sure what's going on with him, and I hope to God that he kind of shapes up because he's kind of depriving us of one of the most interesting teams at this point.
I agree.
So we'll see. I just it's sad that we have to go through this again. We've been talking about him for 3-4 weeks straight now.
Yeah.
Keeps us going for topics, but it's not great for the Nets.
Nah, it's not. And like one thing I just want to say also is I know he wants society to be better. He wants, obviously the injustices to a halt, and if anything, just remove it altogether. But if he wants to inspire the next generation, and I'm not a professional, I don't know the right or wrong way of doing it, but it's just like if you want to inspire somebody by showing them that they have a voice and that they can do things when if they work hard and they put their mind into it. But by him leaving a team is showing these kids like, where's Kyrie? I'm pretty sure Kyrie has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
He's a point guard. A lot of kids can relate to him. And so like by him leaving, it's leading kids to believe possibly that, hey, like if I don't want to do something, I just want to do it. I worked hard
Yeah.
for it, but I mean, whatever, I could just push it aside,
Exactly.
and that's not the right message he wants to send. And I understand that he's fighting for something bigger, but like we both agree, there's just a proper, better way to do it. This isn't what you want to show to the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just hope that he figures it out because, like you said, we are getting deprived of one of the most interesting teams in recent years.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley said it best. KD went from the Splash Brothers to the Dribble Brothers. So I'm definitely interested to see the dribble, dribble, dribble. But we can't see that unless Kyrie comes back. And I'm praying that he's back soon, especially before the Lakers match up with him, because I know everybody's dying to see that. Everybody's dying to see both teams at full strength. So, I mean, Kyrie, I'm praying for him. I hope
Yeah.
he just figures it out. So.
Yeah, and I think like something I want to add before that we go on to the next topic is that I think
Yeah.
we're kind of getting really close to Kyrie just kind of calling it quits, and
Mm,
retiring.
yeah.
He's been rumored to be thinking about it, and I think
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't put it past him at this point.
Yeah.
It's tough
Unfortunately.
because he's had such a great start to the season,
Yeah.
and he's finally playing with one of his best friends and one of his best friend's friends. I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah.
at this point, it's tough. I wouldn't be surprised if he just said, "Hey, I'm retiring," and then just dipped, fell off the face
And
of
just
the earth.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But last topic: should the NBA be worried about the postponement of games, and should the league look into why California teams have had the smallest number of cases? Personally, I think the NBA was ready for this to happen with the COVID cases rising, postponement of games, because these guys were around family for the holidays and New
Yeah.
Year's, or they were with friends, anyone. And before this, on the road games, they were allowing just random people to come in.
Yeah.
Don't know why the NBA thought, oh, that's okay. But hey,
Yeah.
they fixed it now. Hopefully, everything's gonna get better. Um, the only reason I have a problem with this is because my team's not doing well on fantasy with these games getting
Same.
postponed. But
Same.
that's another thing. But
Yeah.
um, you know, they only release half the season for a reason. They want to
Exactly.
get these postponed games done by then, or after the first half, and it's smart. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Um, so I think that's exactly what they needed to do. But this is something I thought about the other day. Like, if you look at it, California teams haven't had a case yet that I know of.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on
Yeah.
wood. But the only team or only person that comes to mind that has had it was Eric Pascal, and it was a false negative or a false positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it shows that what California is doing as a state is working, right?
Exactly.
Nothing's open here. Like literally nothing is open at this point other
Yeah.
than malls. Um, I really doubt NBA players are going to go to malls right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's something against it at some capacity. Um,
Yeah.
but even Oregon is doing really well because their restrictions are so tight as well. Um, and it shows that California's guidelines are working, Oregon's guidelines are working, and all these other places aren't working. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the US should look at this and be like, oh, yeah, restrictions work. We're
Yeah.
getting close to a vaccine, hopefully.
Yeah.
And hopefully, NBA goes back to normal and we don't have to worry about postponing of games. But what do you think?
Yeah. To be honest, I agree. I definitely think the NBA was preparing for this sort of situation. which is a testament as to why they only planned half the season. I think this first half of the season was experimental to see how they can improve and make the proper changes because like I said, I mean, the COVID is not gone. So they probably took that into consideration as to how they scheduled games, which is why, they had the back-to-backs with the same teams and, limited, flying to other places. But no, I agree. Like California, knock on wood, we're up there in terms of properly managing the situation. And I think not only does that go to our governors, but also like to the leaders of the team, Steph, Braun, with the Clippers, I hate to say it, but probably PG, and then the Kings, I would say like the Aaron Fox, like these guys, these leaders are voicing their opinions. Like, hey, like, do you guys want to hoop?
Yeah.
And like simple, it's simple. Like, yeah, everybody's bought into the culture that they want to keep the season going because they see what can happen. When these guys are stripped of being able to do what they loved last season before the bubble, I'm pretty sure it took them consideration. Like, hey, man, like if I get the chance to be able to play again, I'm going to do what it takes. And
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And honestly, I mean, like I said, in my non-biased opinion, like with the Lakers, like LeBron, like, damn well LeBron's going to want to play. He's trying to, he's trying to consistently keep his legacy up there. So he's
Yeah.
telling these guys, like, hey, don't do anything stupid. Like, we're here to play basketball. Like, what after we win the championship, get that far, you can do whatever the hell you want. But
Yeah.
when you're with playing with me, like, you got to follow these sort of restrictions. And yeah, like Oregon, like how strict they are, it's working. And like you said, there's nothing open out here, which is funny because malls are right. Um, you can't dine in anywhere, can't even dine outside.
Yeah.
And so no gyms except an outdoor setting. But yeah, like the NBA and the United States altogether should take a look at what California and Oregon are doing so well and utilize it because, like you said, like some arenas they can have fans. Like Utah, I mean, they have 1,500 people going in there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like the tweet said, imagine risking it all for, you know, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, but it's the Jazz. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like some places are still having fans. Houston, they've had Deshaun Watson, Travis Scott watching. You know, it's just unfortunately until people learn to stay disciplined, it's not going to end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, like yeah, California is definitely like the perfect example because as of right now, I'm not going with we haven't had any cases for our professional sports basketball teams. They're doing a great job, man. Like even the Clippers, the Kings, like these guys who are not very much well known as opposed to the Warriors and the Lakers are doing their part. So I just think that whatever they're doing, they need to, communicate that with the league. And the league has to reward them some sort of, give them some sort of leeway. But yeah, man, like I just think that the California teams, they are the perfect example of how things should be handled right now. So, yeah,
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the NBA shouldn't start to worry yet. If
yeah,
this continues into February, March, I would definitely start worrying. But I think as of right
yeah,
now, they should be okay. I think with the holidays over and everything's done, they should be okay.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I also want to say is that like with the holidays, like you said, being over, pushing forward, it's just they just have to worry about the players just you know staying close to their proximity, and unfortunately, like the NBA players have access to rapid testing more than healthcare workers.
Yeah.
So I think they should utilize that, as
Yeah.
much as possible. But obviously, you don't want to track these guys because it's it's like you know an invasion of their privacy. But
Yeah.
I think for the most part, everybody's gonna want to hoop, and like the postponement is causing us some fantasy points, man. So it's just these guys got to stay disciplined, bro. I barely won my matchup last week, man.
Oh, same. I
But
was up 6-3 and then it went down to 5-4. I was like, dang, bro. That's tough.
yeah, man, I'm relying on players that man, I need you. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, honestly, like they just have to buy in, man. It's the whole culture altogether, and it's not even just for the league. It's just for their own personal safety as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And that's what it comes down to. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to win
Yeah,
games? Do you want to have fun?
exactly.
And it's
Yep.
tough. It shouldn't be a question, but for the bad teams, I can see why you choose the latter. But,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to catch COVID. It's not fun. It's not good for you. It's really bad for you. And just look what California has done. I mean, even though we have the highest cases, I
Yeah.
think in terms of keeping the players safe, they've done a good job.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think just one more thing I want to add also. I think places like Utah, Houston, no disrespect to them, but they handle it the worst, like just the absolute
Look at
worst.
Florida, man.
Florida too. Um, Obviously, if there was no COVID, like these are places like I would love to be at.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's just like these guys just they don't follow the rules, and like some places they just don't even wear masks at all.
Yeah.
And like until you can get like these not just the NBA players but the whole state all together to buy in, it's not gonna stop. And I know people want to see professional sports as their television and like the distraction, but it can only carry on for so long because I'm pretty sure that the NBA has also prepared for a postpone season altogether again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
I mean, we'll see, but at least I think they're handling it pretty well for the most part.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and the NBA can't be there and be like the big brother that just sits there and like watches you all the time. There's 30 teams you got to take care of at this point.
yeah,
But I think,
hmm
like we said, the NBA should definitely be expanding their rosters, trying to figure out what's going to happen there. But,
yeah,
anyways, that's going to do it for us. This is our
yeah,
29th podcast. That's insane.
yeah,
This is a lot of fun. But definitely, I'm going to plug this a little bit. Go watch the Kareth Burke interview, man. That was fun. Uh,
yeah.
that
Wait,
was
hold on,
good.
Spence. Before we go, you got to tell the people what do we have at stake for tonight.
Okay, so with the Lakers and the Warriors playing, if the Warriors win somehow, my guy CJ is gonna wear a Warrior shirt on the next podcast,
Hey,
and
man.
you're lucky. It won't be a Warriors themed podcast. I got something special. But
All right.
if the Lakers win, I'll say welcome to the Lake Show podcast instead. So we'll have some fun with it. I think it's gonna be fun. Warriors are gonna win by like 50 probably, but it'll be
Hey, you
good.
know what? Hey, for the viewers seeing this, I'm gonna tell you straight up, what Spencer's predicting is not unlikely. There's always a trap game for these teams. When the Warriors
Exactly.
were good, the Lakers are able to beat them by 20 when you get the
Exactly.
KD, right? And now it's vice versa. So that is why tonight's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game.
it'll be a good game.
I
Exactly.
hope
Yeah.
so at least. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check our social medias down in the description, and catch you guys in
Yep.
the next one.